All right. Most entrepreneurs treat content like a checkbox, but Nathan Gwilliam, founder and CEO here, shows it can be the engine behind scaling authority, audience, and profit. Welcome to the Go for CEO channel. How are you, Nathan?
Thanks for having me on today. I'm doing great, John.
Awesome, brother. Well, hey, I know we took a few minutes to do some pre chatting. Really excited to have you on. You know this space. You're an innovator in this space. You've done some really of the work that it took over the last 5, 10, 15 years to be, a trailblazer. So I'm excited. I know I had a gentleman on from Interview Valet, which is a little bit different, but it's this whole ecosystem of podcasting and stuff. And I'm a commercial banker. I wrote a book recently, The 4A Formula, but I'm super excited to have you on because it's really learning this space. I know there's was it the Podfest coming out in Miami uh,
Mhm.
a couple days, I think next week sometime. So anyway, I'd love to have you on. We love to start with just the ideation of how you started the company and where did the idea come from? Were you working in media marketing, advertising at some point, or did you kind of just think of this idea at an age that you said, "Hey, I'm going to start my own business"? So take it away.
So I'm a serial entrepreneur. I started my first business in my college computer lab my junior year, and and after I sold my third venture, which was in 2019, uh, I had a mentor that was helping me, and my mentor made me a promise. He said that if I would publish every day for a year, I would be financially free, and he promised me this. And this was Russell Brunson, who I believe is one of the best digital marketers of our generation. And so I trusted him, and I did it, and I went and started a show. And it wasn't just an audio podcast, it was audio and video, long video, short video, newsletters, blogs, social, all of that. And I published every day for a year. And I got about 3 months into this process and it was kicking my butt. It was really hard. I realized that after about 3 months that I needed about 30 different technologies. I realized that and I wasn't just publishing an audio podcast, I was creating a venture around this. And I realized that those technologies cost almost $2,000 a month. And those technologies were missing a whole bunch of the functionality that I needed and just took way too much time and effort. And one day in frustration, I could see what Shopify had done, where it had brought together like 100 different technologies in one platform, one username and password, one low monthly fee. And I realized that somebody was going to do for podcasting what Shopify did for e-commerce and was going to bring together all of the different tools you needed into one platform to create, grow, and monetize a venture around podcasting. And so that was my aha moment. And I went and hired a bunch of very talented developers. And for the last 6 years, we've spent almost $6 million building this. And we now have 60 different tools that are integrated into one platform. Our own recording studio, our own editing studio, our own short clip creator. We have 18 AI powered tools. We have a repurposer that takes your video and turns it into 15 different types of content. We have 11 different monetization tools. Help if you want to do courses or e-commerce, if you want to do coaching or crowdfunding, right? You have all these different tools that are built into your podcast. It just makes it so much easier to build a business around content engine. So that's what I've been working on for the last 6 years.
Interesting. And were any of the previous exits related to this industry or just a completely different genre?
They were all digital platforms. So that's the common thread is that's my expertise is creating, growing, and monetizing digital platforms. And this time we just decided to create the platform to create platforms.
Mm. So like the trainer of trainers,
That's
right?
right.
Train the
That's
trainer.
right.
So,
And
hey,
we've opened an office in Jaipur, India, where we have about 40 different very talented team members, and we do 40 different services for people to help them create, grow, and monetize their podcasts and other platforms.
oh, interesting. All right. Well, I know beyond the pre conversation, we'll have some post conversations helping the Go for CO community and what we're doing in 26 to invest more into this world. And I love it because I think it's interesting, even just from a longevity or evergreen standpoint, it's amazing how many small to medium-sized business owners don't put enough focus into this space because there's such genuine active ways that you could put content out there that genuinely helps people and creates your brand and your credibility and your audience that brings to you. And all of a sudden you do business because you're a IT service business or you're a landscaping business or you're a, whatever, business. I feel like this is truly that medium where you could, now there's a ton of it out there now, right? So it's an interesting thing. So when you started putting this thing together, and I guess would you call it a tech stack per se of
Yeah,
all?
that's a great way to say it.
Okay, okay. So what did you identify? Because great entrepreneurs are problem, solution, right? So where when you thought of that and you thought of it as Spotify for the podcasting, what
Or
did you
Shopify for
Oh, I'm
podcasting.
sorry, it's Shopify. I apologize.
Mm.
Shopify. So, what were, let's say, the first five components that you thought to yourself, okay, hey, if I could framework this, then I could add another, 20, 30, 40 that you talked about.
Yeah, when we started off, we had to build the foundation. And the foundation of podcasting is the production side, right? It's the, recording an episode, uh, publishing an episode, having a website builder so you could have your own podcast website and publish to your own website, and then being able to syndicate it out to the other platforms. So that's what a lot of our effort went into initially was the publishing pieces. And then after we got that live and had an MVP, then we were able to work more on the growth pieces. And now we're putting a lot of effort into the AI and the monetization pieces.
And are you guys, from a creation standpoint, are you creating the AI functionality or are you seeing the tools that are out there that are being offered now and kind of bolting them on to what
No,
you're?
I mean, we work with ChatGPT and some of those, not ChatGPT, OpenAI and some of those core platforms, but we don't use the middlemen. We are an AI provider. We create code and build our own AI tools.
That's awesome. All right. Well, that's very interesting stuff. And, I guess one of the questions that we always ask at Go for CO is that mindset, right? Okay, so you start this business now. In your respect, you had some exits, you had some success, and not everybody starts that way, right? So, in this particular journey, you mentioned a little bit earlier about $6 million worth of investing into it. Um, is it structured right now where you're the sole owner, or have you had to capitalize? Are you looking at how did you use funding? What was kind of some of the mechanisms to capitalize all that?
Yeah, so luckily I'm a serial entrepreneur and I've built and sold three ventures before this one. So I had some capital I could put into it. And my wife and I self-funded this for the first 18 months or so. And then we started raising capital and we raised all of the rest of those funds through angel investors. We haven't taken any VC capital. So
Mm.
we kind of went and did the circuit. We did the angel competitions, and luckily we're lucky enough to win several of those competitions, and that helped
Oh,
us
neat.
bring in
Okay.
the
So
funding.
you did like some fast pitch type stuff for Shark Tankish for angels?
Yeah, so there's one called Park City Angels, and we got funding from North Texas Angels. We got some funding from Harvard Business School Alumni Angels, those kinds of groups.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, let's dive into it because I'm a commercial banker. Obviously, debt is kind of what I do on a daily basis, and either restructuring it, financing new buildings, acquisition of companies, all that type of stuff. It's interesting when you dive into the raising of capital from an owner perspective, founder. What has helped you to not necessarily dilute yourself very aggressively? And I know angels and VCs and PE and different stages, right? Seed capital and all that type of stuff have different impacts to your dilution scenario and cap table. But what was that like for you? Was this the first time that you had gone out into the market to raise capital?
No, I've raised capital before, and I've made mistakes raising capital before. So venture number four, I'd learned from those mistakes. So one of the things that helped me the most is I didn't take money right at the beginning. I made sure that for the first 18 months, I self-funded it and I didn't give away equity at the beginning. And that allowed me to not fund an idea, right? I had a product that was a lot further along before I had to take any capital. And so that allowed us to have a higher valuation so we didn't have to give away equity. So I've raised $5.8 million, but I still own more than 50% of the company.
Oh,
And that
good.
wouldn't have been possible if I would have had to start raising right from the idea stage.
Yeah, and that's a clue, right? I mean, you get your Y Combinators of the world that they want 7% immediately, right? And there's a little bit of dilution. Then possibly you bring in some other investors through their network, and all of a sudden you're at, oh, okay, now you're at 36%, right? Or you're 42%. So it starts growing. This conversation was had earlier in the week for me of just kind of understanding when you go through those phases, what kind of legal substance do you have to be able to ensure that you still have preferred stock voting and all that type of stuff? Has any of that become an issue throughout the years of building businesses?
Um, we really have not given any preferred class of stock. There's just one class of stock.
Mhm.
We've been very, very blessed. Um, we have a favorable capital structure. I know that I have some friends that are entrepreneurs that have raised money, and it's ended very poorly for them. Where, I had one entrepreneur that he built a successful business, a very successful business, but the investors had such a guaranteed multiple on their investment that they took
Mhm.
everything and he walked away with almost nothing. And it was a we were very blessed that we don't have one of those type, any of those types of investors, the shark type of investors.
All right. Well, great to hear. And it sounds like your service and the capital or the kind of the framework of it is really inviting to someone like ourselves, right? At Go for CO and what we're doing. And now, do you look for, let's say, the top 10%? Are you looking for those podcasts that have kind of put their own sweat equity in, right? I've been doing this for 5 years now. Am I an ideal type of podcast, or is it more like even more further on ones that have had bigger subscriber bases or bigger views and stuff? Who's your ideal avatar at this moment?
That's right. So there's three different avatars that we have. We have a show called Podcasting Secrets. And as far as the avatar for that show, it's people that have built successful podcasts, that have been there, done that, and are on the other side of that. And they don't have to be in the top 1% of podcasters, but it's good if they've done something unique, right? If you're doing something unique, right? You're one of the only investment bankers, that are doing a podcast like this, and or commercial bankers that are doing podcasts like this, and um, you figured out how to drive business for commercial banking from a podcast. And that's a unique enough angle that would be really interesting to cover on Podcasting Secrets. And then we have people that have found success in lots of other ways, and all those voices come together and share their ideas on that podcast. As far as the software goes, so we have PodUp, which is the software, the platform with 60 plus tools. Our ideal avatar for that is a creator, somebody that is already creating content. They already have a podcast, or they already have a YouTube channel, or they already have a blog. Somebody that's already in the realm of they're in this creator economy, and we help them turn their expertise into money. We help them expand and have a content engine, publish content much faster and easier on many more channels with a lot less effort. And then we help them grow and monetize that. So existing creators is, and we do well with business owners and entrepreneurs too, kind of in that done for you space. Or sorry, that do it yourself space. And then over on the done for you space in Pod Allies, that's where we do software enabled services. And we provide 40 different services. And our ideal avatar for Pod Allies is a CEO who has money, but he doesn't have time, or she doesn't have time. And they already have an existing business or product, service that they're trying to sell. They're wanting to become a thought leader and an incredible authority in that space. They're wanting to build audience, they're wanting to build reach, a lot of those things you mentioned earlier. And they're wanting to drive growth and revenue for their business in a different way. They realize that people don't trust ads. And they realize that they want to build an audience of people that know them, like them, and trust them so they can kind of prescribe to that audience, right? They get most of those people come to us and they say, I know I need a podcast for my business, but I don't have time. Can you help me? And that's who we do the best with on Pod Allies.
Hmm. That last one, it's intriguing. So in that scenario, right, it's kind of like finances 101, right? Like sometimes you have money, no time. Sometimes you have a lot of money or a lot of time and no money.
That's right.
It's the worst when you don't have either of those. So, but in that last scenario, so how are you? I mean, what's that journey for that client? And at the end of the podcast, we always do CEO client experience, but I do want to dive into that because it's an interesting scenario, right? You've put your thought into, okay, hey, I've created three or four other companies before this venture. I've self-funded this to a point where now I raise capital. I've thought of this as a tech stack that I know that this industry really needed, and I'm married to it. Now I go out to the marketplace and start to develop this business, right? But in that last one, you're talking about professional, successful company, business founders, owners, and now they want to do something within it. But you mentioned no time. So do you start training them also how to, be a host per se, and are you giving them content to talk about? So until they do that, are they, practicing with you? Like, is it almost like a studio or something like that?
Yeah. So with Pod Allies, with those busy CEOs that don't have a lot of time, we have a dedicated account manager, and we have a team that supports them, and they essentially need to record the episodes, and then they need to be a guest on other episodes we book them on. But other than that, we do almost everything. We do essentially everything. So we have a team that will book their guests for them. They tell us, what the criteria is for the guest they're looking for. They give us a Calendly link, and then we book their guests. And then in preparation for those interviews, we will prepare the bios. We'll give them sample questions. We'll do the research so they can spend 5 minutes of prepping and be ready to do the interview. After the interview is recorded, and we'll provide any tech support. We send them equipment, we train them on the equipment, we test the equipment.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
we just hold their hand through this whole process. And then once the episode is recorded, we will edit the videos. We'll create short forms of those videos. We will create blog posts and a variety of different types of content, newsletters and social content. We'll then publish the content on theirs. We'll build a website for them or a section of their existing website. We will then publish the content on their site and their channels and syndicate them out to all of those channels. We'll then help them engage with their audience. We'll help them grow their audience. We do help them with SEO. We send out newsletters for every episode. We will do ads for them from the amount of money they pay us. We take care of all of their ad spend, and we have guaranteed traffic that they get from that ad spend. So they can, like our middle package, we guarantee 15,000 monthly engagements, 15,000 video views or audio listens or blog views, that kind of thing. And then we help them with their monetization. We help them roll out different monetization strategies using our software. So maybe they want to do a coaching program, or maybe they want to do a course. Maybe they want to do a membership site and charge recurring revenue. Maybe they want to do e-commerce. We have over 20 different monetization strategies that we can help them roll out across their platforms to help them grow and make money from their platform.
I love it. I love it. Well, look, there's something of a seed of greatness in you that you were able to, start other companies, get to this vision, see this opportunity, and really capitalize, right? Many of these podcasts, I know a few that have become really like big media companies, right? And they're doing, even the independent journalist style ones and these types of ones going from politics to business to all types of genres and ideas. It's really cool to have like a one-stop shop. Because I will say, I mean, I've done my research. I've kind of kept it low key on the sense of very simple. People ask me, like, "Hey, do you edit it? Do you port it?" And I don't do any of the cool stuff. I think I'm going to invest in it finally this year to kind of up my level of it. But it's great to know that there's someone that has solved those issues, which is what every great entrepreneur does, to bring the big value right into the marketplace. So let's talk about leadership, right? It's always a hot topic. When you build a business, especially if you've gone on your own, right? You could either be a solopreneur, right? Someone that is really good at something and just hangs a shingle and goes, "Hey, I'm in business," and you go out and get some clients and you do a service or sell a product. Or you can be a business owner and start hiring people and actually have a team that are managing and leading and have some SOPs and things that you have to go through. So, what's been your experience on that side of things? Because it sounds like you've built businesses, not necessarily been just a one-man shop at times of your life. So,
Yeah, I've been blessed to work with with amazing team members. I definitely have not done it myself, and I could never have done it myself. Same thing right now. I have a chief technology officer named Govind that runs our Jaipur office, and I say everybody needs a Govind in their life. He's so phenomenal. Um, so I love building great teams, and I love working with great teams, and that's been my career. I kind of had the curse early on of running my own businesses and not like right from college, I was running my own businesses as the CEO. And so I really never had the chance to learn from great business leaders, right? And so there came a point where I actually stepped away from my business for a while, for years, and hired someone else to run it. And I went and I identified four entrepreneurs that were amazingly successful, far more successful than me. And I actually went and worked for those four entrepreneurs, doing different projects for those four entrepreneurs. I went back and finished my college degree and worked for them. And I think that was an amazing part of my entrepreneurial education was to actually take a job for a while and help someone else out and be able to learn from them.
well, I always say entrepreneurs are just as important as the entrepreneur.
Yeah,
Certainly, a founder, CEO of a company, puts in that 80-hour week sometimes and has to put in the blood, sweat, and tears, and it's up to them to make it successful. But it's interesting, right? You could always say that Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg and whoever, Elon Musk, none of them have built mega companies without great talent, right? So I love that you actually shared that authentically, that you went back because maybe you didn't have the mentorship or maybe there wasn't enough books that you could read to really kind of digest it the right way. You wanted to be hands-on and you went into a company and became an intrapreneur, right?
yeah,
So you always had that mindset of like, hey, I own my position, I own what I do, but I'm gonna go work for someone because this happens to be a person that I can learn from, and then I'll step back again and go on my own. Is that kind of
yeah. That's exactly right. And that was very valuable for me in my entrepreneurial development.
Yeah. Yeah. And look, Go for SEO community, sometimes it's, like in my book, I'll be a shameless plug here. First chapter is assess. If you've lost momentum in your life, if you figured out like, hey, I need some help in certain areas, do something like that. That might be a formula, a next step. Go look at some of the successful people in your industry, in any industry that you're in, and go work for them for a while, right? Six
Yeah,
months, months, 18 months. That'll be so invaluable. It's like earning an MBA in that particular industry and business. And I think better than MBA because most MBAs are just case studies, right?
yeah,
So you're actually living it, being a part of it and growing in it at that point, and somebody else is paying you to do it, which is kind of cool too, right? I do it for free sometimes too, right? If you're young enough, you don't have a family and you don't have all these bills and stuff like that. The young people watching this video, go for it that way as well. Go, put your time into someone and help them, because successful people, Nathan, tell me if you agree with this. Successful people seem to me, from the 300 plus interviews I've had, they want to help other people, but not enough people are courageous enough to ask them for the help. Would you
Yeah.
see that as something that's true?
Yeah, yeah, all of those people, those four people that I went and worked for, they were very willing to help me and assist me in my development. And talking about your four A's, your second A that you have is alignment. And you talk about how we need to align ourselves with the right people and the right environments. And I think that's a lot of the reason why I did what I did. I need to align myself with people that had already achieved the success I was wanting to achieve, that I could learn from people that had been there and done that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's probably where my heart is in that second chapter. My long story is I went to college on a soccer scholarship, didn't co I tore my knee up, came back, didn't do the college thing. And I graduated high school early and I had good grades and all that type of stuff, but it just college wasn't for me. And what's helped me in my life is complete alignment, like building relationships and knowing that now I know Nathan and his company does XYZ. And in the back of my mind, if I meet someone that needs your service, if I one day need your service, or if you know of someone who knows someone, it's all alignment, right? Not only in the principles and morals and things that you think about in your alignment, but in the people that are connected to. So I love that side. So let's keep on going on scaling, right? Right now, you've built this business out. There's times in your life as a business owner that you can get to a lifestyle type business. Where are you at in that motion of avoiding lifestyle, if it's the true, meaning like you're taking the pedal off the metal, right? Or are you in full throttle mode, acquisition, looking for opportunities, growth organic? Like, where is the mindset of what you've built up to this point?
Yeah, my mindset is this is my last venture. My mindset is this is the one that I'm going to get a big enough harvest from that I won't need to do any other ventures for the rest of my life. And so I am paying the price. Like you look at my calendar yesterday and today, and almost every single hour, every single minute was scheduled from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And I'm putting in the reps, I'm putting in the time so that I can reap the harvest from this one.
Well, and I'm excited for you because you know what? I've had, just candidly, I've had some friends that have exited 40, 50, $100 million exits. I've been, lucky enough to know these guys. Um, And at times of their life after that exit, it's been hard on them because the purpose is gone, right? So as much as it's definitely hard, 6 to 6, to have a packed calendar, uh, I bestow upon you like that's an unbelievable season in your life, and there'll be a season to enjoy the background that you have, right? Like be out in the wilderness and have made millions and millions of gajillions of dollars, but it's so cool to see that you're in the grind of it. And I don't even call it a grind. I think it's the game that we as human beings learn to love. Now, 150, 200, 300 years ago, thousands of years ago, it was like go hunt buffalo, bring back food, feed family, and feel purpose, right?
Mhm.
Uh, as an example, right? And now it's we got to be very careful, in my opinion, at least, especially as men. My second book, I believe, I'm working on is going to be something about teaching 40 plus year old men. And I don't know if you're 40, but 40 plus year old men is my target and above to not rest on our laurels. Because like I said, I've seen my friends that have made gajillions of dollars and then kind of lost their way a little bit and then have to come back to purpose to other ways. So I don't know if you have any, I know we kind of went on a tangent there, but any feedback on that since you're in something that you're putting your blood, sweat, and tears at the moment?
Yeah, so I'm actually 51,
Okay.
and my wife and I are empty nesters now. All of our kids are gone and out of the house, and um, uh, there are some things in life. Like I'm an incurable creator. I love creating businesses. I love that creation process. But there's a lot of other things I can create, and there's a lot of things that also have a lot of meaning to me. And
Mhm.
as soon as I have grandkids, I'm going to want to be incredibly involved in their lives. And that's incredibly important, meaningful to me. And I want the schedule that I can do that. Um, there's some charitable causes I care a lot about. I've spent 20 years of my life working in the adoption space, and I care very passionately about children that are abused, abandoned, and neglected. I'd love to make a difference in that space. My faith is very important to me, my relationship with God, and and things that I want to do to relate it to that faith and 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 building the kingdom of God and helping and serving His children. So it's not that I'm wanting to sell a business so that I can do nothing. I want to sell a business so that I can have the resources to do things that matter even more to me.
I love it. Well, part of my five F's, right, is faith, family, fitness, finance, and fun,
Yeah.
right? We talk about it in the book, and I love that you bring that up. I've had the pleasure of recently. I had the last episode that just went out on Wednesday was Bishop Kevin Foreman built a really big church, really live, Holy Spirit in the church, and he's a business bishop, right? He's a business
Yeah.
mindset. And it's really cool because, he built a mega mortgage business in Colorado and then sold that and got into the faith-based side. And he's used the principles of business to also then teach the biblical word and all that type of stuff. So really cool stuff. So look, I love that obviously we've gone through a journey with you here in the first 30, 40, 50 minutes, of just understanding kind of what it took to get to where you're at. What are some of the marketing ways, right? Obviously, you said three areas of the business that are very concentrated in a very specific avatar. Do you market them differently, or do you get one client, let's say in number two, and then expose them to number three and number one areas of business, and it kind of interloops with each other? What's your marketing strategy in that side?
Yeah. So they're three very different audiences, and to whatever extent there's cross promotion, we definitely will cross promote. If I
Mhm.
get someone on the show and they would be a great candidate for Pod Allies, right? We'll definitely promote that to them. If I have a Pod Allies client and they're successful, we'll definitely get them on the Podcasting Secret Show. So to whatever extent um, we can leverage those different relationships across, we definitely will do that.
Okay. So, and the reason I backed that up is, being in finance the last 15 years, I've met mortgage guys, I've met, commercial bankers like myself, investment bankers, M&A guys, whatever. Um, I think a lot of times, it's interesting for a bank, as an example. You have a client that comes in and does a mortgage for $1 million home, and maybe they're a small business owner. It's amazing to me that mortgage person, that mortgage loan officer, sometimes doesn't think of their commercial banker that could help that business owner in their business. They just helped them in their mortgage and they walked away from the deal, right? So a lot of times I see, at least in my experiences, is small to medium-sized businesses lose opportunities. You don't want to be too diluted, but it sounds like you have a great ecosystem that people can travel through. Like you said, they're a successful podcast. They come back over here and then they use this service and go through the infinity cycle of it. So, any other wisdom that you'd share about that and how you've
Well,
developed that?
I actually have a question about that. So, and how you do that. So, so we're at a spot where, so give me some financial advice here. This is like me calling into the Dave Ramsey show and him giving financial advice, right? I'm calling into the commercial banker show and everybody gets to hear the advice that you give to me. But um, so we've raised $5.8 million. I have a little bit over 50% of the company. It would be really nice if I could keep control of the company. We're now in a spot where I think last month we did $87,000. So we're above $1 million of ARR now. And we've proven the model, we've proven the technology, we've proven that we can sell it. Our customer acquisition cost is such that we can acquire them for a really good price. We've kind of proven what the lifetime value is. We can acquire them for like 1/10 of what the lifetime value is,
Oh,
and
wow.
we're at a spot where we just need to pour fuel on the fire, right? We're in a spot where we just need to go acquire tens of thousands of customers, and right now we're in a spot where we're growing organically, and growing slow and not super excited about raising more capital. Um, Number one, it takes a ton of my time, and I'd rather focus on the business instead of going and doing the capital raising circuit again. Um, so what advice would you have for me? Someone that would prefer to not raise money. I've talked to a couple of bankers. The bankers want to loan against physical assets like buildings, and they want to loan against um, machinery and things like that. In this type of a business in a software company, you don't have any of those kinds of assets to loan against. So what would you do if you were me? How would you get the money to go get my next 20,000 customers?
Okay, so look, that's a great question. In the sense of organic or acquisition is the mindset I would have right now. So I just spent about 2 hours ago, about an hour and a half with a managed IT service company, that was one of his dilemmas is, we've been able to grow to call it $17 million in revenue. Um, but there was a point that he said to himself, okay, I've put in the team, and where's my capacity of this current team? Where can I take it to? Am I at 30% capacity, 55% capacity? Or am I at 80% capacity and I know that I need to bring in another component of a talent so that that talent can either organically grow or take over some of the responsibilities that you have as a CEO, right? So that you can go acquire and now you have systems in place that you grow that. So now from a client perspective, I don't know your business specifically. I know we've just been talking about 40 minutes, but as an example, is that capital that you need, what's the use and the source of it, right? So sources are like, hey, Bank X is going to use SBA lending up to $5 million and you're the personal guarantor. There's nobody over 20% exposure in equity. Then it's on you. And there may be some leverage of things that you talked about, like home or equipment or stuff like that. Is it I need debt for working capital because I need $1 million line of credit so that when I bring in these three executives that each own 150,000 each in salary plus some benefits, I have a pathway, I have a runway to be able to grow that organically because now their networks will bring in, you know, 2,000 clients each. Like that's kind of what I would tell you initially we need to whiteboard.
Yeah, the only thing we really need money for right now is marketing to buy users. Like we have our development team, we have a phenomenal development team, and we're making enough money to cover the cost of that development team. We have customer service, we have we have the services team. But what
So
we really need
do you
is
know so you talked your CAC was pretty low, right? So then if that is true, is the profitability or net income, is that a good margin, your net profit, your net profit?
not yet because in a software company, especially an aggregation software company that's brought together 60 different tools, you have a lot of technology you have to build. So you have a
Yeah.
large technology team. So you've got to get over that fixed cost. Um, the net profit margin, if you ignore the fixed cost and you look at just the variable cost, yes, we have a large profit margin, but we're right at that break even point. This month we'll be within a few $1,000s of profitability,
So again, again, it's a game we play, right? And I know we're totally off subject, but it's an interesting one. Hopefully it's curious to the Go for SEO community and whoever watches this. You have a real world example of a entrepreneur, CEO, founder of a company that puts in their own capital, gets it to an MVP status, now goes out to the marketplace, raises funds, but you've got this nut, right? You got a $5 million nut, and now the company's doing 1 million plus in revenue, and let's say the margins, just call it, would it be fair to say 15, 20% or so from a net perspective?
If you ignore the fixed cost,
Yeah.
I bet we have an 80% profit margin,
Okay.
70%, a
Yeah.
huge profit margin.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, obviously there are those expenses. So unless you consolidate some sort of, you know, a couple individuals or, what technology could take over stuff. But long story short, I think if you're saying that capital gives you clientele, is there no company that you could acquire that would also bring you 2,000 clients? Is there anybody in your
So
space that you could buy?
acquire customers and then get their customers acquire a business and get their customers to come
Yeah, it's
use our
like, well,
software.
yeah, a CPA firm buys really the client base, right? They're not
Mhm.
buying Joe Smith, the CPA. They're buying Joe Smith CPA's firm that has 500 clients and it's segmented in 20% business, 35% personal, X auditing, blah, 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 that type of thing.
Yeah. We have not looked at any acquisitions closely. I guess we'd have to give up equity to do that, and I'm sitting at the just above 50%.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I mean, is there anybody, again, so I know we're talking off the, but is there anybody over 20% equity in your current company individually?
Other than me, no.
No. So you're the only one in that scenario. Now, can you, from a bank perspective, I'm just share commercial commercial brain hat. If your company can service the debt, okay, from the 5.8 million, or depending on how it's.
It's not debt, it's equity. We have no debt.
Oh, sorry, yeah, from the equities. Oh, okay, so equity. But I mean, is there some sort of impending exit of that equity, or is there anything?
No.
Okay, so they're in it for the long haul. Okay, so sorry
Mhm.
about that. All right, so assuming you can have the runway with the capital that you're looking at to either buy organically or buy companies that have that structure, that's kind of the two-pronged scenario, right? Is organic or acquisition.
That's
So,
right.
and since you own equity position more than 20% and nobody else does, that's really then based on you. You can go get $5 million right now for a company that's doing, you know, usually it's about 3.5 times multiple of EBITDA. So earnings before interest, depreciation, and appreciation. And
Yeah, and that's the issue with the SBA loans is they want you to be profitable for 2 years, and
yeah.
we haven't even been selling our product for 2 years, you know. So I'm
Oh,
just not far enough along in the
that's
process.
another one. So
We're now starting to get profitable on a monthly basis,
how
but
about how about so and I'll do this offline. I'm going to send you about 4 or 5 ideas because what about a convertible note, right? It's similar to equity, raising capital and all that stuff. But a lot of times don't people don't realize that from a convertible note standpoint, if you have a favorable term, you can use that capital fast enough in a burn rate to get to the position that you want to and just pay back the note and they don't have any equity because it's
yeah,
convertible to a time frame.
with the company having the option of whether it's
A
equity
thousand
or
percent. Yeah, I have
yeah,
a volleyball company right now. They wanted to buy the real estate that they have. They bought the business, the goodwill of just the business of volleyball training. Okay. But the former owner held on to the real estate. And I gave him seven or like probably 5 or 6 different options because he went to market. He had friends and family that were interested in giving him the money for the down payment. That didn't work out. Then he went into the marketplace and he was getting people kind of being sharkish about it. Then he came back and he found out that a convertible note, there were some people with capital out there. There's guys sitting on 13 million. They don't know what the hell to do with it. They're investors, but they're willing to get 7, 8, 10%, which is way more than a bank is paying on easy money, right? And there's safety behind it too, the way that you structure it. But a convertible note. So
I,
that's my commercial hat sharing with you.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much, John.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I love, that's actually one of the first times I've been asked in that scenario. So I'm glad that there's some value there that you can glean off. And I'll email you some stuff. So, but look, the Go for SEO community really appreciates you coming on and sharing some of the wisdom and the things that you're doing. And it's so cool that you're in this space and this time frame of this new business. And I wish you nothing but success. I'm curious for the Go for SEO platform of what might be some opportunities that I could glean off of and see where we could do business together. But from an ending the podcast scenario, we have a CEO, which is client experience, engagement, you as the owner and entrepreneur, CEO, founder, and then O is for operational excellence. And I'll walk you through this. So client experience from a value proposition, if you think about people doing business with your company, they find out about it, that CAC walks in for $10 to spend 100 as an example. Like, what does that look like for that individual business or what have you, client, to go do business with you and have a client experience?
What do they need to pay? Is that your
It's everything. So, what is that journey? What do you think you want to share with our audience if they're
gotcha?
looking at this and going, "Oh man, I want to do business with Nathan's business." Like, and what does that look like for me
Perfect.
on one, two, or three? Do they all look different? Is the same journey? That type of stuff.
Sure. Okay, so if they have time but they don't have money, they can go to podup.com, PODUP.com, and they can license the software and they can get access to those 60 tools, including 18 AI tools and 11 monetization tools. Um, and just do it yourself. Use the tools and create a venture around a podcast. If you have money, but you don't have time, then go to podallies.com. That's PODALLIES.com. And you can schedule a free podcast strategy call, and that will probably be with me. I do almost all of those. And on that call, we will ask you a bunch of questions and we'll help you develop a customized podcast growth and monetization strategy. Even if you never work for us, we'll help you develop that strategy and give that to you to use however you want. And and then if you're interested, we as Pod Allies, we have that done for you, podcast production, marketing, and monetization agency, and we can execute that plan for you. So again, podallies.com and schedule a free podcast strategy call with me.
Awesome, awesome. So they're getting you right from the
Yeah.
beginning, and they're really getting the horse's mouth of the creator and the founder. So that's an awesome experience too, right? A lot of times, right, as a solopreneur business owner, it's interesting to kind of get the mind of the person that had the ideation of it. So I appreciate that. All right. So number two is engagement. So out of CEO, engagement is all about, Nathan, how do people interact with you? How do your vendors, your team that you talked about in India, like what is it that you do that makes it different to engage with you? Are you a go to dinner person? Are you a retreat person? Are you like to Zoom a lot? Like what's your matter of engagement?
Yeah. So, so me personally, I'm on video calls all day long, like literally 12 hours straight of video calls. And the reason that's so valuable for me is I think I close better face to face. I think I can build relationships stronger face to face. And I think it saves me a lot of time not having to travel different places and I can get a lot more done. Time I'm in that spot where I don't have a lot of time. And so it allows me to get a lot more time, get a lot more done with limited time.
Awesome, awesome. So, and is there anything that you really, really enjoy from an engagement standpoint? Like, are you a gift giver?
Mhm.
Do you like to meet up with your team in Jamaica? Like, as an example, I don't know.
Yeah, I do love to travel. And I do like to do adventures with my team. A lot of my team is in India, and so when we go down there, we like to safari. We'll go and we don't shoot any of the animals. We but go and see lots of amazing wild animals down there. That's one of our favorite things to do. I'm a foodie. I love experiencing amazing foods, and so I love taking people I love, people I care about, to go experience amazing foods together.
All right, well, we relate on that one. I've got the whole family. We've been watching for a few months, Next Level Chef with Gordon Ramsay, and
There you go.
really cool to see social media, home chefs, and professional chefs all compete against each other. So. I'm the cook in my house too, so it's funny. All right, last one is operational excellence, and obviously being a tech guy, having built now a SaaS and all that type of stuff, I'm sure you have some really cool tools. But maybe top three tools that you use from a day-to-day basis to run your business. That's operational excellence.
Yeah. So I'm a big fan of the Google Stack, and I use the Google Stack a lot. Um, I love platforms where they're kind of all in one platforms and they bring a whole bunch of different tools into one place. I like Shopify. I like the Google Stack. I like Zoho. Zoho's an Indian company, and they have 40 or 50 different business tools that are all integrated together. You pay one low fee per employee, and then you get all of your employees get access to all of those different tools. I love how those are integrated together. A recent tool, I've been getting more and more into AI, and so I love ChatGPT, and I've been using an email program that's been helping me a lot. It's called Superhuman, cutting down a lot of my email answering time. Uh, yeah.
Interesting. Superhuman. Oh, interesting. Like, so does it have to learn your cadence the way that you maybe 1,000 emails before? Does it learn that side of things or?
So it integrates with my Google account. So it takes from the first day, it already had learned because it could go back and look at my past emails. It learned my
Oh,
style, it learned my voice. Yeah.
oh, wow. Interesting. And is it formatted more to get you that next appointment or the next opportunity or is it
It
more just for interaction and
it's formatted more for people that have a lot of email to help them minimize the time that they're spending answering their emails.
ah, okay. Interesting. Well, Nathan, it's been a pleasure to have you on. Really appreciate you coming on the Go for Your channel, and obviously would love to, do the vice versa with you that we talked offline. But we'll take this offline. Is there other ways? What's the best way to get a hold of you? Somebody realizes they really want to do business with you, from the DIY to the do it for you type scenario. What are the best ways to get a hold of you and get doing business with you guys?
Yeah, you can go to LinkedIn and just search for Nathan Gwilliam on LinkedIn. You can go to PodUp and sign up for a free trial, and our team will reach out to you and try to set up a demo and strategy call. Or you can go to podallies.com and schedule a free podcast growth and monetization strategy call with me directly.
Awesome, brother. Well, hey, super excited for you. There's a lot of journey to be had and going to be cool to see over the next 18, 36, 5 years, whatever it is that your goal is, what that exit looks like so you can go party and be a foodie somewhere in the world.
Yeah,
So
looking forward
with,
to that.
with your grandkids, right? So
That's
that's
right.
awesome, brother. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.